For those of you guys who are into maximizing your personal finances, sometimes you might feel like you're a bit behind, especially when you're comparing to other people who maybe have a bit more than you. But chances are, you're actually doing pretty alright. So in today's video, I will talk through 5 different signs that you're doing well in your personal finances. And if you feel like you're still lacking behind in any of these things, then the good thing is I'll also share how you can fix it. Let's get to it. So the first surefire way to know that you're doing okay financially is that you're not living paycheck to paycheck. You might think that this is a low bar, but trust me, you'll be surprised, quite a lot of people still do. In fact, a survey showed that 70% of Gen Zs and Millennials are a bit worried about covering their expenses on a monthly basis. So if you're someone who, you don't have to anxiously wait for your next paycheck to pay off your bills, then I would say you're probably in the top 30% of Malaysians already. Honestly speaking, just achieving this, like getting out of this cycle of living from paycheck to paycheck, this will already take off a huge mental load off of you, financially at least. I used to be someone who did this paycheck to paycheck kind of thing, and it wasn't fun. I wouldn't recommend it. If you're still struggling with this, here's what you can do. So first up, we need to set a target, and we don't want to set it too high. So let's say your first target is going to be saving up 1,000 ringgit. So over the next few months, what you're going to do is you're going to try as best as you can. Everything else should be put on pause until you can get this 1,000 ringgit saved up. So start by identifying areas that you can cut down on. So for example, let's say every day before you go into office, you buy a cup of coffee. Maybe you want to cut down on that, or maybe just look for a cheaper option and then save the balance instead. So what you want to do with this money is you want to set up a separate savings account, and let's call it a buffer fund, and you want to transfer all of these savings that you make into this new account. Once you can get this sorted, trust me, even if you think it's only 1,000 ringgit, at least getting yourself out of the habit of living paycheck to paycheck will already give you a lot of peace of mind. The next sign that you're doing well financially is that you have an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months. So let's say if your current expenses is 3,000 ringgit a month, it means that you have saved up at least 9 to 18,000 ringgit. This to me is the foundations of personal finance. In my opinion at least, this is one of the first major milestones that you want to hit in your personal finance journey. Having this 3 to 6 months worth of expenses just stashed away, waiting there for you to hopefully never use it, but ready for you to use it if you need it one day. It will just give you so much peace of mind, because let's say there is an unexpected expense, or worst case scenario, let's say you lose your job or you lose your income source, at least you know you can pay off that unexpected bill, or you can still survive for the next few months even if you don't have an income anymore. If you have this, then congratulations, because you're definitely doing well. According to Bank Negara, 47% of Malaysians find it difficult to just raise 1,000 ringgit in an emergency. So this is just 1,000 ringgit, and already half of the population, they can't do it. And I just can't imagine what that number will be like if you're talking, 3 to 6 months worth of people's expenses. I would say, just a wild guess, probably 80% of Malaysians don't have an emergency fund that can cover that. And it's not just for people on a low income. Ringgit Plus, they recently did a survey, and they found out that among those who earn more than 10,000 ringgit a month, only 58% of them can survive for the next 4 months or more if they were to lose their income source. So yeah, despite being T20, despite earning more than 10,000 ringgit a month, they still don't have that financial safety net of being able to survive without that job. If you don't have this yet, then again, just start small. So again, what we want to do is we want to create a separate account. This one I actually have in one of my digital banks. I just label it emergency funds. And every single month, we want to try and transfer as much as we can to this account. Even if you can only do 50 ringgit, 100 ringgit, then just do that. Make sure you just top up that account every single month whenever you can until you hit your target. Like I said, I think this is one of the most important things that you should do. Even more important than investing, I would say. I guess if you have that, then that might be a bit more important, but let's get to that a bit later on. Actually, not later on, because this is the third sign that you're doing well financially, which is you have little or no bad debt. First up, I just want to say that I don't consider every single loan to be bad. I think it is normal for us to have loans. Things like ASB financing, PTPTN, taking out a house loan, I think all of these things are fine. It's not like if you have any of these, then you're not doing well financially, because even I have those. The ones I'm talking about, the ones that we want to avoid, are more things like credit card debt, personal loans, or BNPL. This is especially true for credit cards. I think that is extremely bad, just because the interest rates can be like 18% a year, which is way too high. So if you don't have any of these, or if you have very little of it, you got it under control, then I would say you're doing pretty well for yourself, because according to AKPK, over 50,000 Malaysians under 30 years old have debt totaling nearly 2 billion ringgit. So this is, when we average it out, it's about 40,000 ringgit per person. That's a lot of loans. And I also remember seeing this before, but if I'm not mistaken, the number one reason that people file for bankruptcy or the number one reason that people go to AKPK is because of personal loans. And unfortunately, we can also see that in Malaysia, the take-up rate or the adoption, I guess, of personal loans and BNPL has been increasing by quite a large amount. If you look at the personal loan amount from 2010s to where we are today, 2025, the growth has just been crazy. So if you're stuck with a lot of bad debt, let's say you've only been paying the minimal amount or just a partial amount of your credit card bill for the past few months, then you will want to focus on clearing it off as soon as possible. So like I said earlier, this one will take priority over your emergency funds just because the interest rates are crazy and it can just keep you in a spiral of paying interest without, clearing off that debt. There are a few strategies that people take to clear off the debt, but the one that I would use is to first clear off the highest interest rates once and then slowly go down that list until you clear off everything else. So in this example, I would think that credit cards probably have the highest interest rates. I would try and pay that off first, and then maybe BNPL, and then personal loans, and then etc. until you're done with the entire list. Then one extremely important thing to remember is that once you get out of this, you make sure that you never get back into it. I know sometimes in life it's unavoidable. Maybe you didn't have an emergency fund before, an unexpected expense came up and you just had to pay for it, so maybe you were forced to take a personal loan. Understandable. But yeah, I guess in the future, you don't want to get trapped into this cycle anymore. You want to make sure that you're debt-free, or I guess bad debt-free. And that is why we want to have emergency funds. That is why we want to make sure that we don't live paycheck to paycheck. The fourth way to know that you're doing well financially is a pretty clear-cut one. And that is you're investing money on a regular, consistent basis. Regardless of how much, even if it's as little as 50 ringgit a month, I would say you're doing pretty well. So the reason I say this is that based on what I talked about earlier, we already know that most Malaysians, they are in quite a lot of debt. They can't raise 1,000 ringgit in an emergency, and it's most likely that they also don't have an emergency fund. So the fact that you're already investing money on a regular basis, regardless of how much, already shows that you have these things sorted out. I hope so, at least, because you need to make sure these things are sorted before you start investing. But yeah, if you can do this, you have all these things sorted out, you're investing the extra money, then you're definitely much better off than many other people out there. It's also a good sign that you've gotten beyond the survival stage of personal finance. So just based off of my experience, I noticed that some people, the way they see money is more of, they have a bad relationship with it. They're just trying to survive. Money is just to pay off these bills. You have so many things to pay, so many debt that you want to clear. If you're investing money, it shows that you are beyond this stage now. You're now at the stage where you're thinking about your future, your retirement, all those stuff, which is obviously a good sign. And it doesn't matter whether you want to invest in stocks, gold, crypto, ASB, whatever it doesn't matter. This one is more of your own personal choice. And another thing is that if you've been investing money consistently over the last, let's say 6 months, a year, or even longer, it shows that you understand the value of delayed gratification, which is very, very important in my opinion. It's just so easy for us to, see the extra cash that we have lying around and just spoil ourselves, enjoy our youth, buy whatever we want, travel, all these things. And I don't think those things are wrong. I think we should reward ourselves, but we also need to set aside some money at least for our future. If you haven't started yet, the good thing is there's so many super easy ways for you to get started these days. It's extremely simple to understand. It's extremely simple to invest. These days, the barrier to entry to investing is extremely low, so it's not exclusive to the super rich people. Even with just 50 ringgit a month, you can already start investing with very reasonable fees. So my favorite way to invest personally is to invest into stocks via ETFs. And if you want to do this, then you will need a brokerage account. You can open it with a broker like Mumu, who are one of the most popular brokers in Malaysia right now. So if you guys don't have a Mumu account yet, if you want to invest in both Malaysian and US stocks, then you can sign up with the link. I'll leave it down below and you get some nice freebies for using that link once you've deposited some money. Another very easy to understand and easy to execute option for you guys is robo-advisors. So I do advocate for them a lot. You can check out names like Stashaway, Versa, Wahid, KDI. All of those are pretty good options as well. And the final sign that you're doing well financially is that you're growing your income, whether it's active or passive income. I guess the best way that you can, or the best indicator that you are doing well financially is that your income from investments is going up. So let's say you invest some money into ASB. This year your dividends is 5,000 ringgit. Next year your dividends is 10,000 ringgit. That's obviously a good sign because not only are you increasing your income, it also shows that you've invested more money as well. This to me is a real flex, and it's definitely one of the clearest signs that you're doing well financially. In fact, my dream is for one day for my passive income from my investments to exceed my active income. But I'm still so far away from that, so I guess just gotta keep grinding. I've said this a few times before, but to me at least, income is extremely important, and it's also one of the foundations of having strong personal finances. It will just help us build our wealth a lot quicker, and with most things in life that are good, we will always want more. The unfortunate part is a lot of Malaysians aren't currently earning a lot of money. I know there are a lot of wage and wage growth issues circulating online right now, and it's really crazy that our median salary is only 2,750 ringgit a month. That to me is extremely low. Of course, having a higher income is ideal, but even if you can't do that, then just growing your income every single year is already a good enough sign that you are progressing at least. So if you've been stuck with a low income with a lot of growth for a long time, then maybe it's time for you to find ways to try and grow that. So if you want to do this via your main job, then you can either upskill yourself and find another role within your same company, hopefully with a higher salary, or I guess the easy way out, just based off my experience, is to just change companies. Most of the times, whenever you change companies, you can get easily a 20 to 30% salary bump. Or your other option is to look at side income opportunities to sort of supplement your main income. So you still work your 9 to 5 job, and then you do, let's say, freelance work, graphic design, whatever it is, on the side at night just to earn the extra money. This will also really help your finances. So looking at this list of 5 signs that you're doing well financially, how well do you think you are doing? Let me know down in the comments below. If you guys want to start investing, then check out Moomoo. I'll leave the link in the description of this video. Thanks for watching the video to the end, guys. Give me a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.